It's almost our favorite time of year. That's right. The fair returns March 16th, celebrating 71 years of fun.
Wow. Oh, and this year's theme is a world of fun, which means destination-influenced rides with international foods and shows.
Okay, pero what are we going to eat this year? That's what everybody wants to know, right?
That is the magic question. Okay, let's see. There's the Miami Cuban funnel cake sandwich, the Mexican street corn pizza, bacon pineapple burger, chili lime candy apple, and those are only some of them. There's over 130 food options.
Bueno, hay que empezar la dieta ahora. You know, there's even new shows, tú sabes, to sit down and relax a bit.
Right.
There's a dueling piano show that takes audience requests and a survey says game show where your team competes for prizes.
Okay, new food, new shows, the rides. That's a lot to do at the fair.
Bueno, pero you know that the fair is a tradition.
That's true.
Pero no worries. Just download the Youth Fair mobile app to keep track of show schedules, deals, food, rides, y de todo.
The only thing left is for us to figure out when we're going to go from March 16th through April 9th.
You know, there's only one thing left to say at this point.
Be there, the fair.
This is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is
Season 6 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Selfie. Say cheese.
Cheese. Not for nothing, but that cheese dip thing you made earlier was absolutely delicious.
Are we recording?
We are recording.
Okay. Oh,
as you sit there scratching your beard at the thought of me complimenting your dish.
Well, we have surprises.
we have
surprises. Welcome everybody to
always
episode 241.
Yes, you got it.
I got it. Pero let me tell you.
Hold on, I'm going to use these sound panel thing to put some applause.
I remembered, viste, I remembered. Episode 241 Pero let me tell you. Hello, everyone. We are in March.
Mother of pearl. Well, we were in March last week.
Yeah, but now we're in March for real.
Like for real March?
Yeah, like last week it was what, March 1st?
3rd.
It was baby March.
3rd because Sunday was March 5th, which was 305 Day.
Right. Soon it's gonna be May.
I always love whenever that gets posted and there's always that one person who's like, I don't get it.
Oh my God.
And it's always somebody who's either like...
Is it our friend?
No, it's not. No, it's not our friend. But it's always somebody who's like much older than us or much younger than us.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So yeah, no, it's March. No, I'm telling you, ahorita, like, we are going to be buying our Halloween costumes.
Well, okay, but before we do that, it'll be the fair.
Yes, it will be the fair. Well, before we talk about the fair,
all right,
the goodness of the fair.
Yes. I was just going to say how they can come see us live at the fair.
But no, first I wanted to ask our listeners how they're doing.
That's fair.
¿Cómo está todo el mundo?
That is fair.
Happy Pero Friday.
Yes.
Happy Pero Friday. Are you guys on your way to work on Friday?
Some are. Some aren't. I'm sure some have like a 4-day work week. You know, some figure it's Thursday's Juernes. But Juernes is only at like 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Juernes sounds like its soundtrack would be El Venao. Y que no me digan en la esquina El Venao.
But is that because infidelity happens on Juernes?
Man, there's so many. There's El Venao. Then there's like... what was that? Una sopa de pollo. And what was the one de la mayonesa? Mayonesa.
I could not tell you what that song is about other than the fact that it says mayonesa.
But it's not about one of our favorite condiments?
I mean, it might be. I don't know. Maybe it's about Gayo.
bueno. Mayonesa is a song then about una mayonesa común y corriente.
Exactly. So it's not about gay.
Right, and it doesn't have, a house beat to it.
No, so it's not.
So I would say it's not about gay.
Decidedly not gay.
Right. Did that inspire the Ketchup Girls? Do I say all those songs,
Man, we're going down memory lane right now.
And then the Venga Bus and,
Oh, the Venga Bus. It's not coming.
No. All those songs. Okay, let's be honest. Because I know nostalgia.
They were fun. They weren't good.
Nostalgia has a way of making things a little fuzzy.
Right.
Those songs sucked.
Like I said, they were fun. They weren't good.
Yeah. And I think it's funny that Sereje was like this huge sensation. But I remember listening to that song and being, this song sucks.
That's because a ti no te gusta el cachú. Y como
you know what is
y como
so
ellas
funny?
son las hijas del cachú.
You know what's so funny? You know who bought the single to the Venga Bus? If I tell you, you're not going to believe me.
The Venga Bus. I'm trying to think.
Who bought the single?
The way you said
and
that.
And they will deny it, but they bought the single. I remember they had the single in their car.
Was it our friend who helped us?
No, it was not a friend of ours.
Oh, okay. Your brother?
My brother.
I could see that.
My brother, the most conservative and like, you know.
Yeah, but I could see your brother being like, this is the hit song right now. Let me get it.
Letting loose to the Venga Bus.
I don't even think your brother would ride public transportation.
You know what? You know which one of those songs I do actually like? That was sort of crappy, but I do like. I like Blue. I'm blue. Eiffel 65. Yeah.
Again, they're not good. They're fun. I don't think when they sat down to write any of those songs are like, this is a masterpiece that's going to change the face of music forever.
Yeah.
I thought they were like, you know, this is going to sound great on the beaches of Ibiza.
And then I miss a Moñoñon. Listeners.
Mira que a ti te gusta esa canción.
Listeners.
Mira que you love that song.
Look up on YouTube. When you get home, look up a song called E Moñoñon. How do you spell that?
I will spell it out in the episode notes, but I'm assuming it's M-O-N Moñon. M-O-N-O-N-O-N.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
El Moñoñon by Robert Vargas, also known as Roberto Vargas.
Yeah.
Vargas. I love that song. That song is a jam.
You do.
That song is a jam. Like,
the best thing about sitting in a car with you, especially your car, is that, you know, it'll go from like Demi Lovato, The Weeknd, and then randomly Moñoñon.
Yeah.
Will just show up.
And then I'll listen to like, I don't know, Marilyn Manson.
Right, yeah,
like,
as one does.
Like,
as one does.
Marilyn Manson, then I'll, you know, Radiohead, and then it'll on shuffle, then you'll go to Who Do You Think You Are by the Spice.
Maybe some like Chica
nobody could ever say I'm one dimensional.
This is very true. They can say many things about you. That's not one of them.
But at least my music taste,
that's not one of them.
That's not one dimensional.
No.
But anyway, well, now we could proceed to the fair and be there, listeners.
With us.
You want to be there at the fair with us?
Yes, Thursday, March 23rd at 7 o'clock. We're going to be doing a live recording at the fair.
Where in Arnold Hall?
It's in the marketplace. I don't know exactly where in the marketplace. I still have to get that level of detail, but
is that the hall behind Arnold Hall?
I think so. Yes, because it's Arnold Hall, and then the place where they had like the playgrounds.
Willis Hall.
Wait, what? Oh, Willis.
Whoever got that?
That took me a second.
Whoever got that, you're over the age of 35.
Very true. Very true.
And you know what we're talking about.
You know exactly what we're talking about. So we're in the marketplace.
It was a Different Strokes reference.
7 p.m. Thursday, March 23rd, because as you know, we record on Fake Fridays, which is Thursdays.
Yes.
So if you're going to be at the fair, or if you have currently won fair tickets from us, you know, feel free to use your free entries on that Thursday and go, you know, swing by and sit for an hour and just watch us do this thing we're doing.
I think that day there should be a specific part of the show where we just people watch.
But it's not a visual.
Right, but we will be giving audio commentary to the
visuals. So it would be like, mira ese que está pasando por ahí.
Mira ese, tiene dos manzanas. He's double fisting an elephant ear y una manzana.
I don't want to hear double fisting with elephant ear.
So, you know, as everybody knows, especially if you were raised in South Florida, when March comes around, I know for the rest of the country, when you think March, you think
St. Patrick's Day.
Spring. Not me. I think the fair.
Oh, yeah. And today was a little breezy, and I started thinking it's like fair weather. Not the fair weather we remember, as we always say, with like windbreakers.
Yes.
But it's like that fair weather. You know, está rico la noche.
Yeah. No, that's why I always tell you, I got to find the pictures of me as a kid in the fair with like a members only jacket, because that is how I'm going to prove global warming. That is my research. I'm like, you want to show that there's climate change? Well, when I was a kid in the 80s, right,
it's irrefutable
we used
proof.
to go to the fair and wear sweaters, and now we wear tank tops. If that's not climate change, I don't know what is.
I mean, basically, you are the inconvenient truth.
Yes. Louis Aguirre needs to study me.
Louis,
like
yes,
in my pictures.
maybe that's why he came on the show. He wanted to establish that contact with you.
But yeah, no, we say this every year, but we really do love the fair. Yeah. Like,
it's not lip service, guys.
No,
they're a sponsor, but that's not why.
Even if you listen to the first season, before they were a sponsor, we talked about the fair. Like, when you grow up down here, it's such a big part of it, and not so much anymore. But like, public schools down here really used to prep you for the fair. Like, you could buy the tickets at the fair, and then of course they would give out the map at school.
I missed the map.
I remember I would so basically it was a map that you would fold out.
Like a theme park map.
It was like a brochure, and you would fold it out, and it was probably like 24 by 36, and it was
seemed gigantic at that time.
It was like the map of the fair. I would put that on the floor, and I would be so excited that I would look at it, and I would go like and pretend to be on the rides.
Makes two of us.
So like, when I got to the Himalaya, the Polar Express, I would start spinning. Ooh, escapade, we'll have a good time.
As you would swing by Debbie Gibson, later Tom Petty.
Yes. No, that was the Himalaya. The Polar Express was one of the
discotheque. The discotheque was Debbie.
Yeah.
Debbie /
and then,
Tom.
of course, the flying chairs. You know what I was thinking about the fair the other day?
Lord.
And listeners, again, the ones who grew up going to the fair,
you know what we're
talking about. I think it's interesting how we changed the names of rides. So, for example,
how we
the public, right?
Okay,
The what was the big roller coaster at the fair?
The double looper.
The double looper. That wasn't the name of it. It was
looper.
called the doppel looping.
The doppel looping star, I think.
Yes, the doppel looping. And mind you, it said doppel looping in like these enormous letters that were like the size of a semi truck. But somehow we called it the double looper. That's also like the hammers.
What are those called?
Are the kamikazes?
That's the kamikaze?
Yeah, te vas a montar el martillo.
And all of the ones that spun was the Himalaya.
All of them
were the Himalaya. Right. Didn't matter what it was called.
La Himalaya.
They were all the Himalaya.
Pero te vas a montar... Ay, Darien, eso está muy fuerte para ti, los martillos. And then, of course, te vas a montar la silla voladora.
Well, okay, that's just a direct translation.
But the flying chairs actually don't have a name. I don't know the name.
Probably flying chairs.
Don't you think it's a fake name?
Okay, we're going to find this out. And on March 23rd, when we record at the fair, we're going to report back with the actual name. We're going to ask the carny that works at the flying chairs what it's actually called.
What is the actual name of the flying chairs?
Yes, and they will not be able to answer us, I'm sure.
Right. And then, I have such good memories of it, like the hot ice cream. That they sell, like, listeners, when you're going down the hill in the Midway, there's always an ice cream shop and ice cream little stand, and that I love it because that was my grandmother's favorite stand, and my grandmother loved the fair. And I always would tell these, like, my friends, I would be like, the ice cream there is not cold. And when I told them that, you would have it, y efectivamente, it's not cold.
I never realized it. Mira que llevo año eating the goddamn ice cream there.
Ice cream.
But it doesn't melt.
But it's not cold.
But it's ice cream.
Yeah. So
it's like room temperature.
So we look forward to establishing a lot new memories this year at the fair. Yes. Hopefully a lot of them with you guys if you come see us.
Come see us.
And maybe my parents will be there.
Oh, they're going to go to the fair?
My parents go to the fair every year.
Okay, but if they're there the day that we're recording, they have to be the special guest.
Yeah, of course.
If nothing else, we're just going to yell at them in the audience.
My parents go to the fair every year. So my mom loves the fair.
Okay.
Neri loves the fair.
Neri loves the fair.
Right. So
as much or about the same as the car show?
Oh, that's a hard one. The thing about the car show is that she becomes an expert.
So it's like two different Neris.
Yes. She'll be like technical. Ay, mira la línea del Escalade nuevo, que lindo. Verá ese tremendo carro.
So automotive Neri is not
so
fair
Neri
Neri.
remembers what cars looked like before, like their other generations. Whereas the fair is just a fun time.
Okay.
But I love, because my parents, like, they used to go to the fair, obviously, when we were kids. Then maybe they stopped going. But then when my brother had his kids, then they started going with my brother. So then when my brother's kids, were older, then now they started going with me and Tristan. Right. So they've always gone to the fair. And every year when my mom goes to the fair, she makes the same complaint. ¿Tú puedes creer que la oreja de elefante está a $10? Yo me acuerdo cuando costaba $1. Every year. And because it does go up every year.
It goes about like $1 or so every year.
¿Tú puedes creer que la oreja de elefante? Ay, Dios mío. ¿Qué?
Las cosas están perdidas. Okay, you now have to make sure or figure out a way to, I don't know, trick them into going the day that we're all going.
We're going to tell them that Tristan's getting a special award.
And then, it'll be like when they hijack people on talk shows. It'll be like, surprise, it's for you.
Oh boy, no, that could go one of two ways.
I was gonna say I don't know how that would go over, but we could always find out. So I just wanted to touch on just two more things really quick. So this past week was 305 Day, and I just wanted to bring it up because I know I've said this before, but I will say it again. As a part of 305 Day, Jenny Lorenzo was in town, and this is someone who we all love. We've had on the show, but we had never met in person. And when we met her, actually, we met her the night before at Villain Theater, but when we met her, it still does not fail to surprise me or that you meet these people who you've never met in person, and it's like you're already 20 steps ahead.
Oh, it's like I know you.
Yeah, it's like you know them. Like we ran into Boris Sanchez at 305 Day También, and it was like, hey, what's up? How are you? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
but Boris, you hadn't met.
I had met very briefly, though, because he was covering a story that I happened to be at. So it was just like hey, nice to meet you in person, and move on. We didn't talk. It's not like we had a chat. But it never ceases to amaze me how, because of this world that we live in, I know I sound like I'm 95 years old, but this world that we live in, like you meet these people who you've never really met. And you're all friends. You go way back. It does not, I'm still like in awe of that.
Hey, yo, I'm tired of using technology.
I forget that song exists.
But that song is so good.
I didn't say it was bad. I just say I forget it exists.
So, speaking of songs, I was actually... I saw this week, and I sort of thought it was a fun talking point. So, there's this site on... I don't know, some Instagram that it's... It says 1 second song... A whole year of number one songs... in per second, right? So
it's like 52 seconds long.
52 seconds long, and then it'll have
the number one songs. Or
so
whatever.
Obviously, sometimes because if a song ran for number one for like 10 weeks, it'll be 10 seconds, right? So it's really fun because obviously, as you watch it, depending on the year, it's like, oh my God, I was a kid. Oh, I was in high school, whatever. And I saw today as back as 1978, actually.
Wow.
So they've been doing it for a while.
Okay, for a minute.
So the other day, they did 1993.
Okay.
So 1993 started with like, in there they had the songs from The Bodyguard, they had Dream Lover by Mariah, Hero by Mariah, Janet. 93 was also the year of Janet with the Janet album, so I had That's the Way Love Goes, and it had Again, it had Informer, it had SWV, it had Silk, it had all like these
legit greatest hits,
great songs from 1993. But what I thought was really interesting was, and this took me right back to high school, and I think that a lot of people that are our age or around our age would appreciate the comments.
Oh, the comment. Okay, what's it?
Oh, grunge dominated 1993. Not sure who was listening to this crap. Sorry to tell you guys, but none of these songs are good. These are comments, right? None of these songs are good. Are good. Oh, total crap. 1993, the year of Smashing Pumpkins, The Breeders, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. None of these songs were good. Why are you even listing them? And it goes on and on and on.
Now, these were Billboard hits.
These were Billboard number one hits on the Hot 100. And it's funny because this took me right back to high school because I remember that being such a thing. And that's a very, like... Zillennial Generation Z, whatever.
Gen Z.
Is that Gen Z?
Gen Z and then Zillennial, because if it's taking you back to high school,
right? No, we're the Zillennials. What's the one before us?
X. Sorry,
Generation X. I call Generation X the Reality Bites.
Yes,
generation.
That's fair.
Which that's why to me, we've explained this before. I don't necessarily think of myself as a millennial. If pushing it, I'm an older millennial.
Right.
But I certainly
I'm not
don't
Gen X.
think Gen X either.
No, I'm not that. Right. I'm not that cynical.
Right. I felt that was such a thing with that generation. Like, again, the Reality Bites, Ethan Hawke, Janine Garofalo, all those people. Right. Because that took me right back to high school. Because I remember those kids that were like, oh my God, I don't listen to pop music because I listen to Siamese Dream by, the Smashing Pumpkins.
I listen to real music.
I'm like, that is pop music. It's on the radio. Like,
pop is short for popular.
Yes. And what was interesting was that you remember me at that time. I also liked that music very much.
But you've always liked everything.
Because I loved Pearl Jam. I loved Pearl Jam.
Yes, we heard about how you almost died at the Pearl Jam concert.
I did. But again, I felt that was such a thing in our time. I don't know if that's something they still do in high school. That it's like you had that group of kids that listened to alternative and to grunge that were like, oh, we're so better than you.
Like we have cred.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing anymore because now everything is so individualized.
That's true.
So it's like I may genuinely listen to 400 different artists that you've never even heard of. And that's also just because I'm dating Jose. But, as we've said, he listens to, One-Legged Table and the Wonder Pumps.
Yeah.
Who knows what that is.
Yeah,
what that is. But people nowadays there is no monoculture. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if people will even care about that. In the same way that when we were in high school.
It's funny because now that you're saying that, at the end of the year when people start posting, which sort of annoys me, their Spotify lists, I always sort of chuckle at the people that post their list and their top 10 artists are, it's like nobody I've ever heard of before, right? It's not like you have one or two obscure people.
Right.
It's like all 10 of them are obscure people. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, you know what? I'll say it's like
you almost went out of your way.
Yes. Right. Because again, I sort of measure it a lot of times to myself. I like a very broad genres of music.
Right.
From very, very commercial people to like, totally underground people. Right. But it's a broad mix. So it's like, really? So you mean to tell me you don't like anybody that has a record deal? Like
well, nowadays that doesn't mean anything anymore.
Well, that is true.
Nowadays you can have an entire career just being on SoundCloud.
That is true.
It's a very different world now.
But I think, it goes back to what we've talked about a few times about shared experiences.
Yeah.
Whether it's music, television, or movies, there was something to be said about
the water cooler
movement, or even in school. Like I remember going to school and being like, "Oh my God, who watched
the Cosby last night?
Who watched this? Yeah,
South Park.
Who watched TGIF? Like, oh my God, did you see that when Stephanie drove into the kitchen? And that doesn't really happen
as far as I know. That doesn't really happen
because it's what you said the other. I think you were the one who said it, that sometimes you see things on streaming services that it's like, oh, so and so show coming back for its 6th season, and you're like, what?
Where is this even airing?
I felt that way about that show that Ashton Kutcher did,
The Ranch.
I was like, something of a cabin.
Yes, it was like on for 6 seasons on Netflix.
And you're talking about Ashton Kutcher, which is a household name.
Right. Yeah.
So this wasn't like unknown.
No.
And I remember watching something about it. I'm like, wait, what? The show has been on for like 5 years? So obviously, if it's been on for 5 or 6 seasons, enough people are watching it.
Because Netflix will cancel things.
Right. But so I was like, but I don't want to say I don't know anybody who's watching it. But it's not even that.
I can't remember hearing about it.
I didn't hear anything about it from anyone on television. I didn't see anybody of
Billboard
the show. Promoting it on like
on late night
TV. I didn't see anything on Mimo like social media.
Right.
So it's like, again, where are these shared experiences?
Yeah. But it's funny because on the flip side of it, I was telling you, I was watching the women in the Billboard Women in Music or award or what have you, which it's fine. They were they selected certain women to give like the best Latina award, the Icon Award, etc. And they gave an award to SZA, who I like. I really do like SZA. I think she's very talented. I think I like her music and all that. But what struck me was that she was being introduced. Oh, I forget who introduced her. But they were making it a point about, talking about her accomplishments. Fair enough. Understood.
About SZA?
About, because whenever when you're introducing somebody who's about to be honored, you always talk about their accomplishments, and this is why this person is being honored, etc. And one of the statements that she said was, her last album, all 23 songs of the album charted. And when I heard that, I immediately said, that doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't mean anything anymore.
It doesn't mean anything anymore.
That happened
because
also
all that means is that
with Taylor Swift with Midnight. Every single song on the album charted on Billboard.
That just means that your fans put it on repeat on a loop for 12 days or whatever.
You know what happens now?
It doesn't mean anything.
So a few months ago when that happened with Taylor Swift, and it's no hate to Taylor Swift.
It's not about Taylor Swift. It's about the system.
When all 12 or 14, how many songs on her latest album Midnight, they all charted on the Billboard Hot 100 within the top 40. So when that happened, she beat Madonna as this female with the most top 40 singles ever. Like, I don't know, 100.
Right.
And Madonna had like 70 something. Like, she eclipsed her by like big time.
Right.
And a lot of people were upset because they were like, somebody like Madonna, say what you will about her.
But her legacy is her legacy.
The songs that are in her top 4 that went top 40 were singles that she promoted, that she did videos for, that
people had to go out and buy.
Performed, that you had to go out and buy, that you had to request on radio stations.
Right.
Like you had to
do the work.
You had to work for those songs to make it in the top 40 of Billboard.
Right.
Whereas today, just you download and stream a song and you have it on repeat and that's it. The song charts. So how noting those accomplishments, what
does it mean?
How relevant or what does it really mean, right?
Right.
Because now just anybody can have that. So it's exactly what you saying. Somebody like her, even SZA, which I like SZA a lot too. So yeah, she has 30 songs that have been in the top 40
from one album. Right.
Who knows them?
Right.
And I've said this before. You can make even that argument about Beyonce, right? Beyonce's album now, Renaissance, right? And you're talking about one of the most famous people
on the planet,
in the world, right? On a consensus, how many people know those songs? Yeah, sure. Cuff It Up had a...
and what was the first one?
The first one was Break My Soul.
Right.
Break My Soul did get radio play. And Cuff It Up got radio play too, and it did a challenge. But as a consensus, how many people know those songs on that album?
Right, outside of that, yeah.
Right? Compared to... Again, I know things change, like a Michael Jackson, a Madonna, a Prince. Even Beyonce before. Like, Destiny.
Crazy in Love.
Everybody knew Crazy in Love.
Let's use her solo career.
Right? Everybody knew Crazy in Love. Everybody knew Single Ladies.
Right. You must not know about...
Irreplaceable. Those were songs that everybody knew. Everybody knew. Were huge hits.
Right.
So, but now it's like, okay...
Your album, every single is a top 10. Congrats, I guess.
But who really, aside from your fandom,
right?
Or people that like your genre of music, like as a consensus,
right? It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I mean, again, even comparing her to her, an average person knows the Single Ladies dance,
right?
The hand movement. Why? Because that was one of those songs that culturally it was a massive hit.
You could not escape that.
But now, like. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, if they were doing the what was it called? The compilation albums.
Greatest Hits?
Now
that's what I call music.
Now that's what I call music.
They still make those, by the way.
Are you kidding?
They still make them.
But who buys that?
I don't know who buys it, but they make them.
Pero porque número ahora? Do you remember? Do you remember the very first one?
I think they stopped numbering it, and I think they started just being like, "Now that's what I call 2022."
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
Do you remember the very first one? The very first one I remember had "Together Again" by Janet Jackson.
Wait, which was the one that I'm thinking of that had fire? Was it Fired Up? That had like jock jams. Because that wasn't one of the. Now that's what I call 25 or whatever. That was one of those like. Now that's what I call dance.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so again, I know we sound like two, the two old men Muppets in the balcony, but yeah.
Speak for yourself.
It's when we.
Well, no.
We say this in terms of like that, it doesn't mean anything.
But people have to work for it. You know who I would say doesn't is Bad Bunny. Everybody knows Bad Bunny songs. Everybody knows Titi Me Preguntó.
That's true.
Right?
He's managed to break.
Everybody knows Tu eres mía.
Yeah.
Those are songs that
have entered the zeitgeist.
Yeah. that people know. So it still happens, but I just think that nowadays because there's such curated moments and music lists and streaming services and playlists and all that, the shared experience is less and less, unless it's somebody again like Bad Bunny, because his latest album, Un Verano Sin Ti, that was a multicultural, multi-generational hit.
Yeah. It was
like
a
we
moment.
hadn't seen in a while, right?
That's true.
That people from all cultures and all ages either liked or knew of that album, because my parents know about that album.
Yeah, regardless of whether you liked it, is a different story.
My parents know what those songs are, and they know that album. Sí, el disco ese que tiene con corazón, right? They know it. Right, and they're not his demographic.
Well, but that's also your mother likes to, go party in the club with the drugs too.
Oh,
La canción, I can't think of any songs today. La canción de con las Pepas.
Oh my God, Pepas! My
Yes.
mom loves that song. She's like, "Ay, Darien, qué buena está esa canción," and I'm like, Mom, ¿tú sabes de qué es esa canción, verdad? She's like, ¿pero de qué? Le da discoteca. ¿Le gusta ir a la discoteca?
That's half
and
of the
I'm
story.
Like, no, mamá, la canción es de tomar droga, empastillado. Pero como tú dices, I'm like, él lo dice en la canción.
It's
like,
not me.
I'm like, ¿qué tú crees que es una pepa? And he even says, empastillado. She's like, ay, Dios mío. Ay, qué pudrición.
See, that's another facet of Neri. You've got Auto Show Neri, you've got Pepas Neri, you've got Bad Bunny Neri.
My mom's a hoot.
Your mom's like Sybil, but for, pop music.
My mom's a hoot. She really is. She doesn't know it, though, but she is.
Maybe she secretly does.
What?
Know that she's a hoot.
My mom?
Maybe
no.
maybe this is all just one elaborate ruse, como dice Stephanie.
No. I wish I could give them that much credit.
You wish it was about that?
No.
All right. So I wanted to bring up something really quick, and I say really quick, but I wanted to get your feedback on it, your thoughts and hopes and dreams. So maybe like less than a month ago or so, Selena Gomez went on social media to announce that she was taking a break from social media.
Okay.
All right, fine, whatever. But then like 2 weeks later, she broke the hiatus and came back on social media. Mm-hmm. Probably she had to promote something or whatever. Why do people feel the need to make these pronouncements?
Well, okay.
Why? I mean, she could just stop.
For somebody
posting.
like Selena Gomez, maybe it makes more sense because she's a public figure.
But if she doesn't post for a while, I mean,
she does have a fandom.
Meh?
She does have a lot of Instagram followers.
Yeah.
So I could understand for somebody like her, maybe that was like her PR team was like, listen, just say this. What I think is interesting is when non-public people are like, guess what? I'm getting off Instagram. I'm like, well, good for you.
Enjoy.
I still have to pay my bills at the end of the month. Like, what do I do with this information now?
I don't know. I just feel like yeah, fine, she's a public figure, but you don't why do we need a pronouncement? Like, if she just doesn't post, she just don't post. That's fine.
Well, because I think that for a lot of people, it's just the world we live in. Social media is an extension of who you are.
I guess, but I mean, in the past, again, in the olden days, when people weren't photographed for a couple of times in a magazine, they didn't release a press release.
But it depends, because look, I mean,
saying I'm talk about being Greta Garbo.
I know Selena Gomez on Instagram, but I don't post in Instagram nearly as much as I did a couple of years ago. And I have had people reach out throughout the years, hey, why don't you post as much anymore? And I'm
really?
Like, yeah, I have. And I'm like, well, just because I don't want to. Like,
yeah,
there's some days I'm like, I'm going to post this. And then I go through 2 months and I'm like, I don't want to post shit. Like,
yeah, I think also because we post with the show and with the chicken that, yeah, it's like the personal is the least of it.
Yeah, no. I mean, I just find for me, social media, I go through ebbs and flows. I go through moments that I'm like, oh, how exciting, and then other moments I'm like, why am I still here? Like, I mean, at this point in time, my Instagram is 7, 8 years old. I'm like too invested at this moment.
Yeah,
yours is even older.
This is true.
I'm too invested at this point to like walk away from it. But at the same time, it's like whatever. I go days without checking my Instagram. Whereas before, it's like the very first thing you do. You take
check
off
your social media.
You check your social media. My mom is on social media. It's on Instagram, by the way.
Now?
Oh yes,
recent.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is she following Boney M?
Oh my God, I should totally post that video. You know what? As much as I think our listeners would enjoy that, I can't.
You're gonna. That's the line.
I can't.
That's the line.
So, listeners, my mom loves for me to make playlists for her and burn them on a CD. Yes, I still have a CD burner. Porque my mom is like, ay, Darien, hazme un CD de las canciones que a mí me gusta. And then, I already said this story on the podcast, but it was a while ago.
Yeah, it was
years
big,
ago,
yeah.
so I'll repeat it. So my mom, years... I've been doing this since I was like in high school.
Since burning CDs was a thing.
Burning CDs was a thing, right? Ay, hazme canción. Ay, mira la canción de Marc Anthony, de Isabel Pantoja, y de esta whatever. So it's common. A couple of years ago, she's like, ay, mira, quiero que me hagas un CD de estas canciones. Y me hagas un CD de Boney M. And I'm like, de Boney M? And she's like, sí, Boney M. And I'm like, who the hell is Boney M? And mind you, I didn't know who Boney M, the band, was. So when
You'd never heard of them.
I'd never heard of them. So my mom was saying like Boney M. And I'm like
it's one word.
Right. I'm like, I know a lot. I don't want to say I know a lot about music, but I know enough that...
There's even artists there that you may not know personally their music, but you've heard of them.
But I know, right? And I'm like, oh, ¿quién es Boney M? And I'm like, bueno, ¿qué canción cantan ellos? And they were like, una ahí, Rasputin. And I'm like, Rasputin?
That song is so good.
So all of this was like, I'm like, what is she talking about? So here I am doing like these Google searches and I have no idea how to spell. I don't even know what she was saying. I'm like, how do I even spell Boney M? Like, what is this word? Somehow I was able to put two and two together, and through the magic of Google, I find the band Boney M. Right?
I'm assuming you back searched with Rasputin.
Yes. And then I was like, okay, this is who Boney M is. Oh, they have a greatest hits. Oh, they sing a song called also Daddy Cool. Like I started putting two and two together. I'm like, oh, Daddy Cool has millions of views on YouTube. So does Rasputin. Like I'm like, okay, she's onto something. And then my mom's like, I see. Porque en Cuba a mí me encantaba ABBA y Boney M.
Right? That is wonderful.
Right? So I tell this. I think I told you. And I told our friends,
right.
And you were like, yeah, Boney M. They did that.
Yeah, Daddy Cool.
Daddy Cool.
Right.
Celine Dion did a whole thing on like that song and whatever. So then one day, I remember it was a Friday, and I'm at my parents' house. I took the day off from the office that day, and I was at my parents' house, and I finally found the songs, right? And I found them on iTunes. So I'm like, Mom, esta es la canción que tú decías. And I started playing it loud. And it was like...
She was jamming.
It was like, oh my God, I haven't heard that song in 40 years. She started to dance to the song. And I started recording her. Para que después no digan que era mentira mía.
This is true, because you tend to exaggerate sometimes.
Right. I started recording her. And then I sent the video to all of you guys.
It was wonderful.
And she was there jamming to da da that's it. Da, da, da. She was Daddy Cool. She was like jamming.
I love it.
To Boney M. And you saw her. She was...
I want to take her to like a disco and just let her dance on the floor.
And I'm like, wow. She's like, sí, a mí me encantan las canciones bonitas de Boney M. Listeners, do your parents like Boney? Then I discovered Boney M.
And look at that, your mother introduced you to Boney M.
And I actually love the song Rasputin.
I love that song.
That song is great.
I love that song. I love Daddy Cool.
Yes, and I learned... listen, Rasputin is one of those songs that it's a fun dance song from the 70s. It's from the 70s.
Late 70s, yeah.
And it also gives you a history lesson.
It's a 2-in-1.
Yeah.
It really
because
is.
You learn about Rasputin from Russia, which was a real man.
Yes.
That they poisoned the hell out of him. And he was apparently
he just would not die.
He was a fantastic lover.
That's... Well...
much that they did a song about
the
him.
The rumor is that he was hung like a horse.
Hence fantastic lover.
Exactly.
You know? But, he was also an asshole. And then they had to, poison him.
Yes. And then because of him, the entire, Russian family was murdered.
Right. And somehow there's a cat involved.
No, Chico, that's cat. Like, that cat was cool.
No, there's a cat involved.
In the song?
Yes, there's a cat. Hay un gato.
Okay, well, I'm going to listen to it now on the way home. Because I don't remember. I just remember.
No, when we finish recording, I'm going to show you. Hay un gato.
Oh, in the video.
No, in the song. They talk about listeners, look up Boney as in your bones. Boney M.
The letter.
Rasputin.
Rasputin, yeah.
Rasputin. Yeah. Just look it up. You can thank me later.
It's wonderful. It's one of I love it. I love it. It's... Again, is it a good song? No. Is it a fun song? Yes.
It is.
You know, it's not going to win a Grammy.
No.
Especially not now.
No.
Not this far out.
No. The other day, I went to the bakery here, the one by my house. Mm-hmm. And, this was so funny.
Was this when you took the video?
No. So I went to the bakery, the Cuban Bakery by my house. Well, when I say bakery, I have to say Cuban Bakery. Because if I don't say Cuban Bakery, then the whole context of the story is off.
I don't think we have regular bakeries here.
I think you're right. Is it just assumed that if you're going to Miami, you're going to the bakery?
I'm pretty sure, because otherwise, I feel like we say, "Oh, we went to the cupcake place or the cookie place or the donut place."
But to make sure, I was at a Cuban bakery, and I was there ordering. I ordered 15 pastelito de guayaba y 15 pastelito de queso, and in front of me, or two people in front of me, there was this couple that they were young.
Okay.
I think they were Latin, but they didn't speak a lot of English.
Young,
like 20s, early 20s. Okay. Maybe mid 20s, but they didn't speak a lot of English. Mistake number one.
Well, they were at a Cuban bakery, so
at a Cuban bakery, and they wanted to pay.
Wait, they didn't speak English, or
they didn't speak English? Spanish.
Spanish. Oh, okay.
Spanish. Did I say English?
You did, yeah.
They didn't speak Spanish. Mistake number one.
That's why I was like, when you said mistake number one.
Porque Mirtha and the counter.
Mirtha, no, thank you very much. $5,
Mirtha's
please.
not having it. She's like, you're my territory.
Yeah.
Tú estás
You're
aquí.
my house now.
Yeah, tú estás aquí. Aquí no hablas español o te vas. O mala suerte. O tú coges lo que te doy. Imagínate tú. They wanted to pay with Apple Pay. And there was a sticker that said Apple Pay.
That they take Apple Pay, right.
Y Mirtha,
had no clue.
The cash register, did not understand how to run the Apple Pay. And they had no cash. Right? Y habían como 3 cajitas de assorted goods.
So they had already placed the order. This was like go time.
Yeah, because
this was go
here
time.
at this bakery, you go, you order, then they, they put it in the little box, and then they ring you up, right? Y esto fue, I was like, I'm running really behind, but this is wonderful. So it got better and better and better. Porque Mirtha, behind the counter, did not understand Apple Pay. Pero entonces Guillermo, who was a patron, overheard the chaos.
So not the two kids.
Not the two kids. Okay. Guillermo gets up and she's like, pero yo te puedo ayudar. Guillermo estaba más perdido que Mirtha. And I kept thinking, should I get involved? I was like, should I get involved? I mean, I don't have Apple Pay. I've never really used it, but I'm sure I could figure it out.
Probably quicker than Guillermo.
Right? Guillermo and Mirtha.
Right.
And tenían un enredo ahí. Un enredo. They could not figure it out. And I'm like, this is like taking 20 minutes, but I'm loving every second of this. And then, of course, as it was happening, I'm like, well, I'm certainly mentioning this on the podcast.
Hell yeah, anecdote.
I even tried to take a picture. But I was like, this is so wonderful that it's like they accept Apple Pay here, but we ain't having it. This is like one of those only in Miami, only in Dade, yeah. Moments that it's like. And what I loved was that Mirtha was not even like, okay, let me figure it out. Vamos a ver lo que está pasando. Mirtha's like, ay, pero tú no tienes otra forma, tú no tienes cash. Tú no tienes otra forma de cash. It's like, how dare you?
Una tarjeta de crédito.
How dare you come with your Apple Pay?
How dare you bring technology to my doorstep?
Yeah, a mi dulcería, a mi bakery.
You've darkened my doorstep with
technology. And it was just so like, I'm sure this doesn't happen in New York. I'm sure this doesn't happen in Broward.
Not even in a bodega.
No.
Not even.
But yeah, she didn't. And then ultimately,
I was going to say, ¿en qué terminó?
I don't know en qué terminó, porque then another girl.
Are they still there?
Another girl was she came from the back, and then she rang up the lady in front of me who had just like a little bag that she was buying. And then she rang me up. But when I left, they were still going at it. So I was like, I think I'm just going to stay here and like pretend to eat my pastelitos, even though I was taking them to the office. Pretend to eat my pastelitos because I want to see what's going on here. But it was like a good 10 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, I want to, because what I think was also funny is like these young kids wanted their Cuban baked
Right. They didn't just leave. They could have just said, well, fuck it.
They wanted it. Right? But then it got me thinking to the whole thing of like, you really don't have any other type of, I mean, look, I never have cash on me, but you don't have a debit card, you don't have a credit card. Like, really? The Apple Pay is the only thing you have?
A lot of people, yeah. I don't have any Apple Pay or whatever. I don't even have like the Venmo or the Cash App. But like you, I never have cash.
It would have been great if they were.
Can I Cash App you?
Mirtha, yo puedo pagar esto con Bitcoin.
Oh my God.
¿Con qué?
I want to travel back in time and ask that. I want that to be the case.
Yeah, I want to pay this with Miami coin. No, mijo, aquí eso no se acepta. Eso no es una porquería. Eso no cuesta nada. No vale nada.
I like that you think she knows what that even is. To have that much of an opinion. To have that much of an opinion.
No. They should just go in there y decir que vamos a pagar con chavito from Cuba.
They might as well just barter. Yeah. It's going to be quicker. Yeah. I'll give you these beads.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they were from FIU. So they ventured off campus.
Oh, and they went far.
They went far.
Yeah,
they went far. They really wanted, la señorita, the pastry.
Well, they got the experience.
Yes. But Mirtha
wanted the señorita, but they got the señora.
And then, of course, Mirtha had the look of like always like gasping, like, I can't take this anymore. That's the best.
Mirtha's always over it.
That's the best.
Mirtha's over it before it happens.
Una señora cubana en un counter of a service, whatever,
right.
A bakery, a restaurant, a cafeteria.
A customer service where you're trying to exchange something.
Yeah, it's the best.
It is great.
It is the best. Like, I just sit back and I'm like, this is culture right here.
El otro día yo fui a Navarro because I needed...
Navarro's the best.
I needed coins to do laundry.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, the guy in front of him, I waited till there was somebody at one of the registers. I went up so that when they attend them, before they attend them, I could ask that I wanted, Señora, ¿tú me puedes dar cambio de $5 in quarters? No tenemos, yo no tengo. I was like, okay. So I went to like the customer service desk. Again,
she wasn't Mirtha Navarro. By the way,
that was Estela, by the way.
I don't know if the lady's name at the bakery was Mirtha, but to me, Mirtha
is like Karen.
Marta, and like those names, those are like the...
Right. It's like how people use Karen.
Yes.
So I go to the customer service desk, and again, I wait for the guy in front. She's like, the lady looks me straight in the face. She's like, ay, mijo, no. Aquí los domingos nunca tenemos quarters. And I was like, what do you mean you never have quarters on Sundays? Right. And she's like, ay, yo no sé. Aquí los domingos siempre falta quarter. But no va a tener nadie. And I was like, but how do you not have quarters?
Yeah, quarters?
Quarters! No, they didn't have. I had to go across the street to the 7-Eleven.
At Navarro, which is a big store.
Yes. I think they didn't want to give me quarters.
Oh, that happens sometimes because then it messes up their change.
But it doesn't. I was a cashier. It doesn't mess it up. There's more quarters in the back. Trust me.
Mm-hmm. No, they just didn't want to do it.
Because again, Mirtha is not going to go to the back.
Yeah.
And get the quarters.
No, you want an experience? Listeners. You want an experience? Vete a the perfume counter en Navarro y que te toque una Mirtha.
That's great.
Sí, yo estoy aquí.
During a Mother's Day weekend.
Sí, yo quiero... ¿Tienen la muestra de Eternity? No, las muestras están ahí. Las muestras están ahí en el platico, ahí en la vidriera.
Pero ahí no hay Eternity.
No tenemos. And I'm like, pero es Eternity by Calvin Klein.
You have to have it.
Common perfumes. No lo tenemos.
Eso no acabó.
Ella no lo tenemos. And it's funny because then the younger Cuban lady who is like ambitious and full of life is like, sí, of course. Mira, y este estuche está bien bonito para una señora.
She's upselling you.
Mira, un estuche. Mira, también tenemos para una señora mayor un talco perfumado. Muy rico. Y mira, mira, mami, esta cremita rica. Mira, esa será tu abuela o a tu mamá, mira qué rica está esta cremita.
Yeah, she's gonna sell you.
Pero
all
Mirtha es like, ay, estos perfumes son una mierda. Like,
todos huelen igual.
Todos huelen igual.
El Calvin Klein, el Estilode.
Mira, una crema rica es la crema de olor de rosa de Victoria's Secret.
Or I would say la española de talco.
Oh my God.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
I have it in my closet.
And you know there are listeners right now who are screaming it at us. La española.
Hold on.
This is going to kill. This is going to totally like... Listeners, he is actually looking it up right now on his phone because he's like, there's no way I cannot know this.
Oh my God, I've even posted this.
That's true. You have.
Maha. See, I have a box there from my grandmother that my grandmother had in her drawer till the very end. Con la española. Ole.
Yes. That's why I'm like, la española, I'm seeing her.
La española, los jabones Maha. Which, have you ever showered con esos jabones?
No.
That's like showering with sandpaper.
Pero...
But you know what? The smell, and listeners, if you know what we're talking about, los jabones and the products Maha, which is a brand from Spain, is de España, right? It has a very distinct smell. I actually like it.
It smells nice.
Yeah. Pero jabón, it like...
will peel your skin.
Like after you shower with the jabón, you could go up against and rub yourself against a wall and you could sand it. Like... It doesn't have Dove's moisturizing.
So it's
properties.
Definitely an exfoliant.
You could say that.
Yes. Okay.
Inadvertently,
Right.
Not on purpose. It's an exfoliant. Ay, los jabones Maha. Ay, sí, para el Día de las Madres, tú le regalas a una señora un talco perfumado.
Eso es un regalo bien lindo.
Un regalo bien fino. Un talco.
Fino. That's the word.
Talco.
Fino.
Sí.
Fino.
They used to give my grandmother talco all the time.
I always found that to be such a weird gift.
Talco, no, eso es lo que se regala a una señora.
But who are all
Una crema.
Who are these women that are like entancándose?
But women used to put on a lot of talcum powder. Like,
I mean, how absorbent were people back then?
Una crema de oil olé o de Pons.
Bueno, crema, yeah, fine, okay, because crema, I don't know, but I just feel like talcum powder is just weird to give somebody.
No.
Felicidades, una caja de talco.
Yes.
It's just weird.
They used to give my grandmother talco all the time. Like, other ladies,
I don't think I've used talc after the age of, 3?
No, because this was perfumed.
But it's talcum powder.
La señora se lo ponía like on her chest, on her arms, así, very lightly, con la mota del talco. Con la mota del talco, man. I don't know
why when you said that right now, it sounded like a Bad Bunny song, like
con la mota del talco. Only knew that I
talco.
was like a sponge growing up, that all this would regurgitate later.
You never know what you're retaining.
See. Mira, I remember that one year. This was years ago. I think it was like when my grandmother retired. Las otras mujeres de la factoría le trajeron un talco muy fino. Era de la marca esta Anais Anais. What? Yes! You don't know what perfume Anais Anais is? Oh, man, that was an early 90s jam.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, listeners, if you have a certain age, you have to remember this. It was
Anais Anais.
Yes, that was very common. It was in both extremes, right? Like, it was a perfect perfume to give una quinceañera. Or then there was like a perfume version of it que used to come in talco y crema. That's what you gave up señora. So middle-aged women were like...
either when you became a woman or hit menopause.
Yeah.
No in between.
No. And I remember they gave my grandmother una caja de talco de Anais Anais. And it came in a very nice, like, floral plastic.
Un estuche, claro.
Estuche, yeah. And I remember La Mota had like the little...
I don't think anybody has said Mota as much as you have in this episode in the last 25 years.
Mota. Anais. Yeah, that was like the jam.
I've never heard of Anais Anais.
Yeah. And then I remember that my grandmother, like, this is generic old lady, had the Jean Naté.
Well, Jean Naté, yeah. So who...
Pero ella le echaba por la sobrecama. Like,
right, to smell nice, right?
I actually think Jean Naté smells good.
It smells very fresh, very crisp.
Yeah. What's a total, now completely thinking of this, what was a total 80s thing that people don't use anymore? Was Noxzema and Seabreeze.
Wait, what was Seabreeze?
Seabreeze was like a toner. It was like a blue toner that you would put in your face to like reduce the oil, which was good for acne treatments.
Oh, okay. I remember Noxzema.
Seabreeze, Noxzema, and OxyClean.
People still use Oxy.
Oxypads. Yeah, but they're not a thing anymore.
No. But they still use Oxypads.
Yeah. But Noxzema.
I remember Noxzema. Noxzema was like the thing. Well, I mean, Tu Wong Fu, Wesley Snipes' character, was named Noxzema.
And then, by the mid-90s, my mom would be like, mira, me compré una crema Neutrogena.
Oh, you're right. I don't remember anybody using Neutrogena in the 80s.
No, that's a mid-90s thing. Neutrogena.
And then, Jennifer Love Hewitt started using it.
Oh, it went downhill from there.
No, and that's when we got like all the celebrities who were just
So you don't remember Anais Anais?
I don't remember Anais Anais.
Listeners.
Oh,
the two
like,
of you,
a blind spot.
the two listeners out there that know what Anais Anais is, like put your favorite Anais Anais.
I don't even know what the bottle looks like.
It was floral. You don't remember that cologne?
Maybe I know what the bottle looks like. I just didn't know the name. Like maybe you show me a picture and I know the bottle, but not the name.
So the woman will be wearing Anais Anais, and the guy would be wearing Dracar Noir.
No, there's a flashback.
Dracar Noir.
Do they even still make that?
I don't know, but I thought the bottle was badass.
They still make Brut.
No, but Brut is like Dracar Noir. They sell Albertines. Like it was like a legit. It wasn't.
That's
cheap.
true. It was like a higher end. Colonia.
Dracar.
Dracar. That's true. I don't know. I want to know if they still make it.
Yeah, gray flannel.
Gray flannel.
Yeah,
you used to call it gray flannel.
Flannel. Yeah,
gray flannel.
Paco Rabanne.
Paco Rabanne they still make. I just have some Paco Rabanne.
Man! Who knew we were going to take a trip down memory lane in perfume?
You never know what you're going to get on, pero let me
tell you. Yeah. I remember my dad had Paco Rabanne. No,
I have the newer one.
You have the $1 million thing. Right. No, that's new. Yeah. I'm talking about the Paco Rabanne.
The classic one that's like the little glass bottle with the little
like
PR.
Gray.
Yes.
No. That was...
That's the original. The OG.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Now that we talk so much about my mom, it's like really funny. I should totally take a picture of this and post it. So my dad's favorite cologne of all time, it will surprise you.
Okay, so it'll surprise me. CK1?
No. It's Jean Paul Gaultier.
Le Mans?
And wait. He's been using it since it came out in the 90s.
Yeah.
He has all the bottles. So when you walk into my dad's closet, there's a wall of torsos.
So your dad has been wearing Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Mans since David Fumero was the spokesperson?
More or less. Since the 90s. And he doesn't throw away the bottles because he's like, ay, pero están tan bonitas.
They are pretty. I mean, they're nice.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
Okay, but they're all the same, though.
Yes, he has a bunch of torsos. Blue torsos.
So it's just a...
Yeah, he loves it.
Okay.
He loves it. And it's funny because like throughout the years, si tú le regalas otro perfume a él, right? He'll be like, no, ese está rico. Pero tú sabes que a mí el perfume que me gusta es Jean Paul Gaultier.
Mira, I would have never guessed.
Yeah, Jean Paul Gaultier. Yeah.
I do love that bottle.
No. It's a good.
Yeah. No. I know. But it's like.
But he really loves it. Like
that's so not what I would.
Yeah.
Picture your father.
Bag of surprises. I need to go to their house like in estos días and take a picture of the multiple bottles
of the wall of torsos.
Yeah, he doesn't get rid of them. I remember that
is he trying to do like an art project?
Years ago. I think it was on a trip to New York that we went that I bought him in Chinatown like an imitation.
Right.
That the imitations are really good.
Good, yeah.
It looked legit.
Sí.
And he was like, esto es una imitación porque esto no tiene el mismo fijador. El mismo fijador. Porque they're all about a fijador, right?
Yeah.
Esto no tiene fijador. Eso en 5 minutos se va. And that cologne does have a very strong fijador.
Yeah.
You put on that cologne and a week later you still smell like it. Yeah.
How do you say fijador in English?
Fixator? I don't know. How do you... Okay, you know what's so funny? Now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, 2 things I want to bring up. In English, in Spanish, people are always talking about el fijador de un perfume.
Okay.
Este perfume no tiene fijador. Eso tú te lo echas y 2 minutos después ya no tienes olor.
Right.
So in the Spanish world, that's something that we're always obsessing about.
Right.
El fijador de un perfume. Right. I think that in the English world, people don't care. Have you ever heard anybody in English say like, oh, wow, that perfume really lasts long or it doesn't last long? Have you ever heard anybody have that as a...
No, and I actually worked with perfume clients.
Yes.
And I never heard that.
Nope.
And we worked for Latam.
Right. That's like... In English, I actually was thinking about this. This is shifting a little bit the conversation. In English,
right?
I'm DJ. There's MJ. There's whatever
AJ,
DJ. In Spanish, they don't say that. Nobody's called by their initials in Spanish.
No, it's always the full name.
Right.
It's always like you would never say, "Oh, there's JM." You would
Right,
say it's
because
Jose Miguel.
I was thinking that the other day. I was like, it was something of Jennifer Lopez that I was actually listening to the Bad Bunny song that she has, the song with Bad Bunny, and there's a moment that she's singing in Spanish, but there's a moment that she says, "Oh, porque yo soy J Lo," and I'm like, you can't say Jota Low. J Lo y Jota Low are not the same thing, porque en español you don't say the name of the letter. Had you ever thought about that? I had never thought about that. Yo me caí de la mata. I fell from the tree big time.
That sounds like something that the chef in Little Mermaid would say.
What?
Like, Jota Low.
Jota Low. Right, but she's not Jota Low. Because, but did I say a lie? Did I say a lie?
No, not even a little bit.
No, in
not
Spanish, people are not called out. That's not something you
it's
say.
It's not a thing. Yeah,
it's not a thing. And in Spanish, in English, it is.
I mean, I never thought about that at all.
Like even in English, like you'll say, "Hey M," "Hey
right,
H,"
right, G, yeah,
"Hey
yeah.
G," whatever.
Yeah.
No, hola, Y,
Hola M,
hola M, no Y, hola Ñ. Hola, ella. You don't say
you
that.
don't do that.
You don't say that.
You're right. I'm still stuck on Jota Low.
Hello. No, and it was so obvious because in this song she is singing in Spanish and then she
switches.
She's like, sí, porque tú sabes que yo soy J Lo, right. And I'm like, oh, she couldn't have said Jota Low because you don't say that.
Not a thing.
That's not a thing.
It's not a thing. I have to figure out how to make that a t-shirt.
J Lo y Jota Low no es lo mismo.
Yes. It would have to be phonetic. Like it would have to be like J Lo, the equal sign with a slash through it, and then it would have to like the other part would have to be spelled out like Jota.
Jota Low.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm sure that Jennifer Lopez, when she was in the Bronx taking the 6 in the early 90s,
yes,
she wore an Anais Anais.
I don't know this perfume. I need to find this perfume.
Yes.
I'm sure I know it. I'm sure I know the bottle. Ay, Dios mío. Bueno, Jota Low.
On that note, what better way to close out the show and go into our last soda than, Jota Low?
Yes. If anything's going to make me thirsty for Jupiñas, it's Jota Low.
But think about it, like...
No, yeah, you're right, but I had never thought about it.
Yeah.
I had never stopped to think about it because we're so used to in English just doing the abbreviation thing. Mm-hmm. Whereas again, in Spanish, it's, you don't say, ahí está M.E. No, it's ahí está María Elena. Mm-hmm. You never abbreviate.
Nope.
Al contrario, we add names.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at that.
And then there's a whole conversation, but we'll have that in another episode. About the proper name, the names are
how they
nouns.
change the names, yeah.
Because
we talked about that before.
Yeah, we have.
Like William becomes Guillermo.
That is not the same name. Like it's not the same name. So you mean to tell me that in one world your name starts with a W, and in another world your name starts with a G? Like. Because you know what? You know what? Seriously speaking, okay. You know that usually, you become very close to your initials.
True. Yeah.
Like I'm all about the D. D's my favorite letter. Just like I.
IJL.
You become very, whatever. It's like, oh, that's my letter, right? D, you're always looking for it in the keychain, whatever letter is. True. So you mean to tell me that now I have alternate letters? Like, but I'm also a G. My name is William. Pero if I go to, Spain, Mexico or Spain or wherever, no, yo soy Guillermo. And let me look for the keychain with a G. Con una E. Like,
yeah, and it's funny because that one specifically, because the other ones, it's like Charles, Carlos, Joseph, Jose, Pedro, Peter.
Yeah.
So it kind of stays at least with the same letter. But that one in particular is just fucked up.
Yeah. I would tell you that I would watch my parents, when they watch Antena 3, which is TV from Spain, that they're like, El Príncipe Guillermo. I'm like, who the hell's a Príncipe Guillermo? And I'm like, it's William? Like, William? Like, that's they say Príncipe William, not Guillermo.
And it's the only language, to my knowledge, that does that.
Right, because apparently, like, seriously speaking, like, I would love to talk to somebody who, like, is a linguist in obviously in Spanish,
right,
or in Castilian or whatever.
What the maybe rules it's romance are, languages.
What the rules are, because clearly they're very different. Because in English, when it's a proper noun, it's a proper noun.
That's it. I don't care what you think it should be.
Yeah, that is the proper noun, and you do not change that ever, right? But no. So it's like, oh, here I'm a G. So let me get the keychain with a G.
But nobody would call you a G because it's in Spanish.
Yes. Right. No, nadie te va a decir, hey, oye, ¿qué pasa, hey?
Right. So,
hacer hey.
And full circle.
So now we are ready. Now, this was an interesting ride. Wow. How did we get here?
I don't know, but it's never a dull moment with you.
Yes. So, well, now this abbreviation and letter talk, this is brought to you by the letter hey. Some call it G, but in Spanish you will never be called hey.
You'll never be called hey.
This will be... Hey everyone, this is DJ, and if you listen to the show, you know how much we love Jupiña. The pineapple soda is refreshing and sweet, and Jupiña goes great with everything from a medianoche to a hot dog to even a rum or vodka. Whether diet or regular, Jupiña has been part of our heritage for over 120 years. From watching our abuelos drink Jupiña at every get-together to introducing the next generation to its distinctive taste, Jupiña is practically part of the familia, como un Juprimo maybe. Así, next time that you need a cool, refreshing beverage, grab that distinctive orange can of Jupiña. After all, only Jupiña tiene puro sabor a piña. It's gone downhill from here. So
it's time to wrap it up with the Jupiñas.
This is brought to you by Jupiña, our last Jupiña of the desert.
Yes. All right, do you want to go first?
No, you can go first.
All right, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Mostly because
I can't find my phone where I have my last Jupiña. I found it. Sorry.
Oye, a ti te entró algo in the last 20 minutes. I don't know.
I was talking about Anais Anais. And
ever since you started talking about Anais Anais, that, you just got giddy.
I don't think there is another human in the being in the world that has said Anais Anais.
And Moda.
More in the last hour than... And if you don't know what those things are, listeners, go out and Google them right now.
Pull over first, but yes, Google them. So my last Jupiña, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Mostly because it's somebody who's been on the show before. It's somebody who's actually going to be on the show in a couple of weeks. Part of one of our Hangueando episodes. I'm gonna give my last soda to Andrew Otazo for his Miami Creation Myth book that he recently released. It was like last weekend. We went to the launch party. It was a great time. He's been on the show before to talk about it, but it went from being an ebook to actually like a hardcover book, an audio book that you and I have both participated in voicing characters for. And I'm going to give him the last Jupiña because at the end of the day, much like Angela Bassett, he did the thing. He did the thing. He said he's going to do it, and he went and he did it. And you can hear more about it in about a week or two when we run his interview. But Andrew Otazo for his Miami Creation Myth book.
Andrew is, I say this all the time. I've said it to him, and I've even posted it on social media. Andrew is the real deal.
Yes, absolutely.
I, as many of you know, I've had, you could say, the privilege of working in politics and public service in the last few years. And in that realm, you meet a lot of people that talk the talk, that are all about, their social, keyboard warriors.
Social justice warriors.
That they're all on Twitter, like, you got to do this, and, calling out these people. But then they don't do shit, right? Andrew Otazo really, that guy goes and picks up hundreds of
over 22,000 pounds
garbage at Virginia Key and all that. Mm-hmm. He is the real deal. He really goes out there and does what needs to be done. And I really admire people like that, because in a world right now where people are so self-serving that try to get in front of a cause, mm-hmm. or be a justice warrior for their own sort of
for their clout,
for their own clout, and for their own, especially on social media, advantage.
Right.
It's a little bit, hard to see who's there for the right reasons and who's there for the wrong reasons. And Andrew is a real deal, and this guy deserves every single accolade and every single, all the flowers that he gets.
And the
Jupiñas, because he really is. He's great. So we love Andrew Otazo.
Yes, we do.
So my last soda actually goes to somebody on Instagram, because as all of you know, our motto here is listen, laugh, and learn, which I will be saying.
The official Instagram page of Anais Anais?
No. Is listen, laugh, and learn. And obviously learning is something that, especially in today's world, is very important, because a lot of people think they're learning from a meme, or think they're learning from somebody's Twitter tweet, and then they go and become experts overnight.
YouTube University.
Yes. But there's actually a content creator called Fernanda Cortes, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Fernanda Cortes. And she's on Instagram, and what I love about her is I think she's Mexican. I may be wrong, but she posts content usually daily or every other day of historical references or cultural references regarding, the Latin community, whether it's something about Juan Gabriel or something about Selena. She posts a lot of things that have to do with culture. And, it's usually in like little Instagram reels. So you could actually learn a thing or two in just a minute. And, I really liked her content. I went through her page and I really, really liked her content. So I think she's doing something good. So I would like to give her a Jupiña, because she's pretty awesome. Fernanda Cortes. An X. It's Fernanda Cortes, and then an X at the end of her name. So check her out.
Cool.
So yeah,
I'm pro learning.
Yeah, no, it's very important. Before we go, I do want to say one thing. So
are you gonna say Anais Anais one more
so
time?
back to Anais Anais. So for especially you that you don't remember it,
you found it?
Oh, it's all over the internet. Because
are you serious?
Yes, it is. In fact. What does Anais Anais smell like? Did you know that Anais Anais is an ultra-feminine, fresh, rich, and romantic bouquet of flowers? Transparent orange blossom with heady hyacinth open the composition. The intensive floral heart blends into sweet rose, delicate white lily, and magical jasmine.
Well, who doesn't love that?
Yeah. And
let me see the botella.
Let me see. Anais Anais is the first female perfume launched by Cacharel in 1978 and remains endlessly fresh and eternally classic.
Wow, endlessly fresh.
Yes. So,
wait, let me see the bottle.
I'll show you after.
Okay, fine.
So, anyway, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned.
You definitely laughed.
You definitely laughed and maybe learned a few things you didn't even think you wanted to learn. But we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your Jupiña. And thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend. And thank you for joining us in this nonsense today.
Yes.
Today was fun.
Today was a fun day.
Today was fun.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Cuídense, mi gente. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darien Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.